Off the bench overtime, a spooky background here. We are previewing Saints, Patriots. Interesting game because both teams are kind of in the same situation. The Patriots, a lot of concerns. Is Mac Jones the guy? Is Bill Belichick the guy? There's a lot of heat on Belichick right now, coming off of the worst loss in the Belichick era. Okay, the game against Dallas was the worst defeat Bill Belichick has ever suffered as the head coach of the New England Patriots. The Saints are coming off of a horrific loss, a very spooky loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where they looked terrible. The offense did not score. Just Blake Grupe, our king. So the Saints are in a situation where they're looking themselves in the mirror. Is this the head coach of the future? Spoiler, no. Is this the offensive coordinator for the rest of the season? Spoiler, no. They have to get things right, but the Patriots do too. Both teams, backs against the wall. This is a loser leaves town match, pretty much. Because one of these teams will lose, barring a tie. But one of these teams will lose, and come Monday morning, there could be some serious shakeup for both of these teams. Mac Jones could be out at quarterback. Pete Carmichael could be out as offensive coordinator and play caller. This game is hugely important for the future of both of these franchises.
Jackson. What's up, Ross? What's going on, man? Ross, of course, the host of the Locked On Saints podcast, does excellent work. Ross, what's happening, bro?
What's going on, homie? Thanks so much for having me on, man. Good to chop it up with you. Hope you're doing well.
Always great having you on. I wish everything wasn't so miserable in football right now. But, you know, here we are. It kind of is what it is.
It is what it is.
You can follow Ross at Ross Jackson Nola.
Man.
Wait, what's going on?
Just when we thought The Rock could still save us.
Yeah, no, I know, dude. Okay, so let's talk, though, because we've been talking a lot of LSU. The Saints have the opposite problem. They've got a great defense, no offense. And one of the things that has come to light this week is just how little the New Orleans Saints use things like motion, play action.
This week. It hasn't come to light this week. It's come to light on this show, on this YouTube channel, for the last 24 months. All right, we may have, we honestly, guys, I say this all the time, we're way ahead of everyone else. We may have been like 12 months ahead of this whole Saints offense is bad, Pete Carmichael is awful, the design of the offense, all that stuff. We may have been so far ahead of this that I may even underrate how ahead of the game we were. We've been saying this since last year. Nothing's changed, and that is my biggest thing. Pete keeps saying it's all on him. It's 100% on him. It's his responsibility. He's had a year and a half. He's had 2 years to fix the problem. He hasn't even come close to fixing the problem. The Saints are still bottom of the NFL in motion. Newsflash. It ain't going to happen. He can't do it. He cannot fix the problem. Dennis Allen can't fix the problem. He's 17-40 in his coaching career. He can't do it. If you know how Uber gives you a driver rating? If the driver said, hey, look, this driver's been in 40 car accidents in the last 2 years. Would you like to accept this ride? Hell no. Damn, give me another driver. I can't expect this driver to all of a sudden figure it out. He's all over the place. That's how Dennis Allen is. He's not the guy to fix this problem. He's never been the guy he's never won. How can you expect a guy who's never won to all of a sudden fix this team who can't win? This is just who he is.
You know, these very base concepts that help you get reads, put the defense on their heel, create mismatches. Pete Carmichael, talked to the media. Did you find his answers to be satisfactory?
All right, so we did a full breakdown of this video. One of the best videos, I think, ever on the channel, content-wise, just pure. I mean, it's 28 minutes or something like that of just absolute 10 out of 10 content. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. I go through the entire interview in depth. I mean, it honestly might win an Academy Award.
In terms of why the Saints offense doesn't do more of this stuff, and will they do more?
Yeah, I don't know about satisfactory, but it definitely explains.
Wow, what a glamorous shot of Ross!
Basically,
a beautiful headshot.
I want to credit, Nick Underhill, who asked the question about using motion and all those things derived from his great piece over at New Orleans Football. But you look at Pete getting that.
It's the same microphone I use, the Blue Yeti. Boop, there it is. Same exact one. Mine isn't hanging upside down like Batman, but very nice here. Ross, can I get one of these? Can I get one of these in like a 12 by 12 for the office here? you wouldn't mind sending one over.
That question and then kind of saying like, oh no, it's there. There's not a schematic reason that we're avoiding it. I just have to get it, get it into the game. And so effectively, like, he's taking the accountability for it, right? He's saying like, look, this wasn't the reason why this isn't present is because I'm not calling the plays that incorporate this, or I'm not adding this in, or whatever it is. And that's something we want to use more of. But so the satisfactory part of it is the fact that he said that they want to use more of it, right? That they want to get it involved. And
of course he is. That's not satisfactory. The way the question was framed was, we're bottom of the league in motion. Why? And he says, well, we want to use more. Obviously, you want to use more. You're last in the league. Look, if you watch the video, you know this, but I don't think any of his answers were satisfactory. If you were to grab somebody off the street and you asked them the questions, they could probably like just kind of word vomit those same answers. He didn't say anything. He is an offensive coordinator who has been on a coaching staff in the NFL for almost 2 decades. Almost 2 decades. I've been doing YouTube for almost 10 years. If you asked me about the YouTube algorithm, or you asked me about how to do videos, or how to film it, or how to edit, whatever, I could give you pretty technical, deep answers. I wouldn't be like, oh, you put the camera on, you flip the switch, you do the thing, and then you do it. I wouldn't. There's no way I could. I would struggle to answer the question. Pete struggled to answer every single one of the questions in that interview.
And at least in that case, you can go into the next couple of games, and when you track things like motion, play action, all these other things that they use or don't use, even, one of the things that you can also see is not having multiple routes packed in the middle of the field, not having multiple underneath routes on certain play calls and things like that. You can kind of track that and now go, okay, well, are they being implemented? Are those things being implemented? And it gives you an idea of kind of where the team is versus where the team could potentially head. But then if you don't see those things implemented, then you kind of have to come back and ask the same question again. So it's satisfactory in that.
I'm not sure what the hell we're even talking about right now, but I really believe if you took all of the plays in Madden, if you took every play in Madden, every playbook, whatever, and you just like made one playbook out of those, and you showed up Sunday on the Saints sideline, I think your playbook would be better than whatever Pete's got. If you just let Madden do it for you. I swear, I think that's what Pete should do. I think he should, someone reach out to Pete. I really think if he just printed out Madden, those playbooks, and just ran whatever mesh, that's like the one Madden play that's in like every year, mesh, PA scissors, PA deep, like all that stuff. If you just run that, we're way better off.
There's a marked improvement that is, or an improvement that is marked as desired. Now we have to wait and see if it gets incorporated.
Ross, it's a bit frustrating, though. It's a bit like we just had a long conversation kind of talking about this LSU defensive front, and there's just like so much obvious bad that it makes me like, okay, I must be missing something, right? Like I'm a layman. Like, why? Right. If I can see that this is obviously so wrong, why aren't they doing more of it? Is that kind of how we feel about this Saints offense right now as well? Like why are these things having to be pointed out? Why aren't you attacking the middle of the field? Why aren't you using motion and everything else?
Great question. And I actually had this conversation with some people in the Superdome, in the stands. I was saying, I'm not a coach. I've never coached in my life. I'm certainly don't have 20 years of experience as a coach in the NFL. But I honestly believe that I could do the same job as Pete Carmichael. Like I'm either missing something or he's missing something, because everything seems so simple. Every time we talk about something or we hear something, it seems like it's the most simple problem ever. It seems like Pete or anyone who's in that position could fix it, but they're not, and they haven't for 2 years. So someone, something's not happening here. Either we as the fans or the viewers, and now everyone's saying it. We've been saying the pre-snap motion thing. We've been saying the personnel package thing. There's a video on this channel about the Buccaneers game where we break down, Buccaneers game from last year, where we just talk about the decision making and the personnel packages at certain points in that game. And that's what lost us the game. In that video, it's the exact same problems now. So they were there last season. Do the coaching staffs, do they not know? Do they not know the problems are still there? Or do they just not know how to fix them? Because if me and Ross and T-Bob and Jacob Hester and Nick Underhill and Mike Triplett, if we're all saying the same thing every single video, my video, their videos, whatever, we're all saying the same thing, how are those ideas not making its way into the coaching, the office? How's it not making itself into the film room? How's it not making itself anywhere else? You know, I mean, T-Bob's right. Like, there's no reason me, Nick Underhill, Mike Triplett, T-Bob, Ross Jackson should be able to be this far away from the coach's office, but somehow in that little brain trust, all the ideas are the same and they're all obvious. But then if you get to the coach's room, they don't have those ideas. So it's a wild situation.
Yeah, I think that, you know, some different people will have different approaches and things like that, of course, but that's kind of the way that I tend to look at it is, okay, I can see all of these things. So let me tell you the things that I think are missing, right? And let me tell you why I think that they would be beneficial. But my assumption is always that there's a reason that those things haven't been there. And then once that assumption is proven right or wrong, then all of a sudden, you know, we can then make the decision from there. And so I think that when you get an answer like what you got from Pete yesterday, which was a lot of like, it's on me, you know, I got to get better, all of these other things, you're basically at this point getting the acknowledgement that like, yes, those things are missing. Yes, we want to incorporate those things. And then it allows us to be better evaluators as we move forward, or not better evaluators, but allows us to be more accurate as evaluators to where we're not guessing anymore. We now know, okay, yes, the Saints have acknowledged that they want these things in their offense. Now we can track and kind of go back and say, okay, well, they're not being incorporated, so why is that? If you want them there and they're not there, what's going on?
Yeah, but the answer can't be, well, it's on me. Because we know it's on you. You're the offensive coordinator. We know that. So that's not giving us an answer at all. What the hell is on that sheet? Can you even imagine? What is on that? Like, his answers are just blank, soulless, faceless answers. Because obviously it's on you, Pete. You're the offensive coordinator. Answer why they aren't in there. Answer why you didn't put them in the game plan. Answer for the last 2 years why you have not felt at any point we need to start adding some of these things we're talking about, whether it's pre-snap motion or whatever. Like, the time for accountability is over. Same with Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen saying, it's on me. It's on me as the head coach. Yeah, I know you're the head coach. That goes without saying. That it's the same thing as the quarterback. If Derek Carr kept throwing interceptions just nonstop, just for 2 years straight, and then we were like, Derek, why are you turning the ball over so much? Why are you not seeing the coverage, or are you not, are they showing you something you're not familiar with? And he was like, well, it's on me as the quarterback. I know you're throwing the interceptions. I'm asking you why. I'm asking you what the reason. I'm not asking. Like, they're not answering the question. And I've seen way too much this week of, well, Pete Carmichael is being accountable, or, the coaching staff knows it's on them. We can't accept those answers at all. We cannot. Those are not part of the multiple choice, A, B, C, and D. It's not part of it.
It's an interesting matchup come Sunday, Ross, because you're talking about two of the winningest teams of really the last decade in the Saints and the Patriots. And you look down, Saints 2-2, Patriots 1-3 in complete shambles. Mac Jones getting benched last game. It's kind of a battle of fallen empires. Are you worried that this is the game where the Patriots kind of put it together, right? It always feels like Belichick and company are only going to say so bad for so long.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of like I said at the beginning of the video, this week, this week, one of these franchises, or maybe even both of these franchises, are entering these like new chapters. The Saints have a bit of a head start on the Patriots because we did just get our next franchise quarterback. We do have a better roster. We already kind of went through a couple of years of quote unquote rebuilding when Breeze and Peyton left. So there is a bit of a new hope in New Orleans. And New England seems to be like on right before that step. They seem to be right before those kind of 2-3 lost years that we had with Trevor Siemian, Jameis, Andy Dalton, or whatever. So New England, now, if they beat us and Mac Jones all of a sudden turns it around, the Empire strikes back. But they are certainly on that real close razor's edge of, if Mac Jones has another bad game, then it may be full on rebuild. It may be full on, like, Mac Jones isn't the guy, Bill Belichick isn't the guy. Bobby Kraft might say, time to bounce, time to find a new coach, time to find a new whatever. And New England could go through a real rough patch for sure.
So I went into the first game of the season with a similar idea for the Saints and the Titans. And for that game, it was that regardless of who loses that game, I don't think you're going to walk away feeling like one team is really, really bad. Like, you're going to feel like these are two pretty good teams, but only one of them could win. This week, I kind of go into this game between the Saints and the Patriots with a different angle, which is that this is going to be a bounce-back game for one of these two teams. This is going to be a get-right game for one of these two games, right? And that you leave walking away feeling like, okay, one of these teams has now got its rhythm, and then you leave walking away thinking, okay, one of these teams still doesn't know who they are.
I don't think so. I disagree with that, because if we win 13-6, then that doesn't mean anything to me. If we win 13-6 and Blake Grupe kicks, a bunch of field goals and it is what it is, all that says to me is the Patriots are garbage. But that doesn't fix our problem at all. If the only way we get right is if we score, and if we go out there and put on a good performance, if we score 28, 30 something points, that's it. And similarly for the Patriots, if they win 6-0, what is that? They didn't get right. They didn't prove anything. All they prove is that we're terrible. So I don't think so. I don't see that at all. I think these two teams, whether you get a win or a loss, depending on how you get it, is a big deal, because there's glaring, obvious problems with both sides, and there's really only one way to address them.
And I think that's going to be the difference in this game. Who finds a rhythm, who struggles to find their identity, that's going to decide your winner and your loser from this game. I do think that with a Bill Belichick-led team, the odds are that Bill Belichick's team will eventually find their rhythm. Don't be the team that ends up being the speed bump before they get back up to speed, right? And for the Saints, you actually have a good opportunity here for a New England Patriots offense that gives the ball back a lot. 71% of their drives in either punts or turnovers. So that means you get a lot of opportunity to be able to
65% of ours end up in punts or turnovers. Like that it's the same situation. And I'll tell you this, if I had to trust one of these two teams to get right, it's Belichick. I trust Belichick off of the worst loss in his career, game planning against this sorry excuse for an offense. I trust Belichick to have his team ready to roll. I trust Belichick to have a game plan that's going to stop whatever Pete Carmichael wants to do. Do I trust the Saints brass to figure out a game plan to go on the road to New England to win this game? No, I certainly do not. I mean, I have to see it now before I believe it. I last week I made the mistake of coming on here and saying, the Saints, can they score 28 points? Can we finally see the offense do this? Derek Carr's coming back, whatever, yada, yada, yada. I can't keep saying that. I can't keep coming out here and saying, yeah, we're going to go on the road in New England against Belichick coming off the worst loss of his career. And yeah, we're just going to drop 28, 30 points on him. I have absolutely the only way we score 30 points is if Blake Grupe kicks 10 field goals. I mean, I hope they prove me wrong, but I think my prediction for this game is that it's going to be a super low scoring slugfest. And it's going to be gross, and it's going to be disgusting, and it's going to be absolutely unbearable to watch. I think it's going to be a 9-12 field goal festival. I mean, this might as well be a punt, pass, and kick contest with the passing out. Like this, what do y'all think is going to be the final score? If you told me, honestly, over under 2.5 touchdowns scored the entire game, I would say under. I'm predicting 13-6, something like that. That's how I see this game playing out. 13-6. It wouldn't shock me if there wasn't a touchdown score. Would not shock me at all if this game ended 9-3. It really wouldn't.
Establish your rhythm and build some confidence over in your offensive side. But you're still going up against a Bill Belichick defense. So if you're able to catch that rhythm, it's a good test and it's a good barometer for where you're headed. But they should get the opportunities as long as the New England Patriots, as long as the Saints defense can force the New England Patriots offense to look like what they've looked like all season.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, Ross. You don't feel great about Belichick versus Pete Carmichael in terms of
Absolutely
game plan and scheme. What are your keys to the game as you see it? What do you think is going to decide the way this thing goes?
Yeah, I think you have to. I think that this one kind of starts over on the defensive side, and then allow the defense to be able to help your offense build its rhythm. And so, what I look at is, can the defense force Ramondre Stevenson and Ezekiel Elliott out of the game? And what I mean by that is taking away the run game, right? And forcing the ball to be in Mac Jones's hands to, create these, to try to create a victory here, or manufacture a victory here. Mac Jones has thrown 4 interceptions on the season, but he leads the NFL in turnover-worthy throws with 14. Can you get those opportunities?
I mean, look, the whole defense has to help the offense find the rhythm. That we've tried that. We did that with Tennessee. We did that with Green Bay. We did that with Carolina. We did that with Tampa Bay. At some point, the offense has to stand on its own. At some point, the offense can't expect the defense to pitch a shutout. They're going to have to stand on their own. They're going to have to dictate the pace of the game. They're going to have to proactively go and win the game. That's it. Here's the keys to the game: not having 3 points at halftime. Not having nothing but field goals, having red zone plays. I mean, it's become so simplified that the whole game plan is pretty obvious. We have to sustain drives. We have to score. Guys, if we're going into the half and we're down 10-3 or something, and it's just the same old, I don't care what the defense is doing. I don't care if we take Ramondre Stevenson and Ezekiel Elliott, put them on a plane and fly them to I don't know, where? London? Yeah. I don't know why I couldn't think of a place. I was going to say Beirut, but then I was like, where the hell is Beirut? Why would you even say that? Why would that even pop up in your head? Where is Beirut? Does anybody know that? Is that even a place? Sidebar, guys. I've had a tremendous amount of coffee today. A high level of Java. So I'm not blaming that on the Beirut thing, but I could be seeing things so clearly I'm not even seeing locations. So shout out to Beirut.
And can you take advantage of those opportunities? We've seen from this Saints defense early on in the season. I know the last 6 quarters have been a little rocky for them, but we've seen that the Saints defense, even in those rocky situations, has been able to take advantage of opportunities. It helps when your offense doesn't fumble the ball on the 7-yard line after you get an interception. But to be able to take advantage of those opportunities, they're doing that. And so that allows the New Orleans Saints offense to be able to run the ball, to be able to establish its rhythm. Hopefully they get its tight ends involved in this game, because we haven't really seen that over the course of the season either. Yeah. I wrote a piece about that over at Saints News Network a couple of weeks ago about the lack of involvement from tight ends and why that might be. Protection help, things like that. So I think that it comes down to stopping the run game.
Look, go ahead, Ross.
On one side, but getting your run game going, which I think the Saints did a good job of in the second half of last week's game against Tampa, and then that will allow them to be able to build that rhythm.
Nothing against Ross, but I'm not a fan of whenever people go into a preview, and they basically say all of the good possible things that a team can do. Basically what he just said was, yeah, the keys to the game is if we stop their running game, if we establish our running game, if we get into a rhythm, if we stop them from getting into a rhythm, and we get our tight ends involved. It's well, if we do that, we're going to win the Super Bowl. If we go into every game and we say, dominate the line of scrimmage, you can run the ball, but the other team can't run the ball, you get your rhythm going, you stop their rhythm, you get your tight ends involved, and you score more points than them. That's the easiest preview in the world. We will probably do pretty good if we do that. But what's the chances that any of that happens? What's the actual practical game plan coming into this? What is the preview going into this? Do we think we're going to be able to stop their running game? Probably. Our defense is pretty good. Do we think we're going to be able to establish our running game? Depends on the game script. Because if we're down, we're not going to be establishing any run. Can we sustain a drive? Can we put a drive together? We can't rely on turnovers. We can't rely on the defense winning us field position all the time. Can we get the ball at the 20, 25-yard line and go down the field and score? Can we have red zone success? Can we get in the red zone? Can we do that? Can we score 21 points? That's what I'm looking for. Because if we can't do any of that stuff, I mean, you saw it with the Monday night or the Thursday night game with Chicago and Washington. Washington didn't run the ball at all because they were down, whatever it was, 23-0 at halftime. So you can't just roll out the tropes every single week and say, do this, do this, do this. Like Washington's big thing was they couldn't stop Chicago. That was the whole thing with that game. It wasn't about their running game or shutting down the other team's running game or establishing a rhythm or any of that stuff. So my preview for this game, guess what? It's on the offense again. And guess what? We'll know pretty quick. We'll know within the first half. We'll know in the first half if we're looking at something different or if we're looking at something the exact same. We have to show that we are willing to push the ball down the field. We have to show we are willing to throw the ball and have some explosive plays. We have to do that. We cannot do this captain check down, 13 catches for 33 yards. We cannot do that anymore. We know the first drive and the second drive are going to have motion. We know it's going to have creativity. We know all that stuff's going to be there because the scripted plays, they always do that. We have to see some adapting in the game. We have to see some evolution. We can't see the same stuff. Cannot. Take the Derek Carr fullback plays and throw them out. All right? We have to score touchdowns. Do we score a touchdown in the first quarter? Do we score 2 touchdowns in the first half? What's the offense look like if it actually is rolling? What even is rolling for this offense? The offense was quote-unquote rolling against Green Bay, and they scored 7 points. So it's one of those things where we can say get into a rhythm. We can say establish the run, but we're not even totally sure. Like, what is establishing the run for us? Is it Kamara? Is it him up the middle? Or is it him and Taysom? I don't know. So we have to establish our identity. And hopefully we see that with pushing the ball down the field because there is no more time to be safe. And I know going on the road in New England is a time when you want to be safe. You want to be conservative because it's going to be a chess match. So I basically just don't want to see us kicking field goals again. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see us with 6 points at the half. If we have 3 points at the half, if we have 6 points at the half, I don't care if we shut down Ramondre, Ezekiel Elliott. I don't care about if we establish our run game. If it's not ending in points, I don't care. I don't care about that at all. I don't care if we're pressuring Mac Jones. If we pressure Mac Jones, shut down their running game, and establish our running game, and it's 3-6 at halftime, I'm going to be absolutely irate.
Ross Jackson, the absolute best man, host of Locked On Saints. As he says, you can find his writing at Saints News. Does a lot of great work for the Locked On Network. If you're a Saints fan and you want to dive deep, I mean, you can hear it in just this little snippet that he's giving you right here. If you're a Saints fan, you want to dive deep, you want Ross at Ross Jackson. Ross, thank you so much, man. I don't really care about predictions. Do you have one? I don't know.
Yeah, 13-6. 13-6 Saints.
The only prediction that I'll really give is that I think that this is still going to be a low-scoring game. I think either one of these teams scoring more than 25 points or 20 points even at this point is still a little bit of a stretch. Don't expect things to be fixed overnight, but I do think that there would be some good things to take away from even a low-scoring game if the Saints could demonstrate them.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me know in the comments below. What's your prediction? What's your score prediction? What are you looking for? What are you hoping to see from the Saints? I mean, this is it, guys. I'm telling you. At New England, at Houston, Jacksonville in the Dome on a Thursday night. We have got to win this game. Because if we don't win this game, I'll go ahead and tell you a little secret. Houston's better than New England. So if we don't win this game, we could be staring at 2-5. The season is on the brink. If we win this game and we're 3-2, and we kind of right the ship, if we do that, we still can win the division. We still can go to the play. We can still meet some of those goals. But if we lose this game, we're on the fast track to 2-5. And if we're 2-5, we ain't winning the division. We ain't going to the playoffs. Okay? So this game, the season is on the line. Also, if you've made it to the end of the video, go ahead and put in the comments below, did you catch the Star Wars movie references that I dropped sneakily? T-Bob wearing the Star Wars shirt here in the video. I dropped a couple of Easter eggs in there. I couldn't slip Return of the Jedi in there, but I did slip A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. Nobody does it like me. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.